Hello, Robert Urban here again, continuing my story at my family's request. As I continue talking about my childhood, I would like to point out I have a few memories. I remember the next door neighbor girl died around age 10. Her name was Bejas. Don't know why, but it really upset the family, that is to say, the neighbor's family, and I can understand that. One of my earliest memories was of my brother and I breaking my sister's pedal cycle. Actually, it was you sit on it and you use your feet. So she was probably 1+ years of age, so I'm 3+ years of age. It was one of those things, and I managed to project my guilt onto my brother and convinced him to go tell mom, really, on my behalf, and he did it. Anyway, there's a lesson there about getting someone else to defuse your guilt. I also remember that we lived near a tin shop, and the tin shop was where the high school boys hung out. So we're like 3 and 4, maybe 4 and 5. And my mother got word from her sister that a neighbor had said there's these two young boys, little tow-headed boys in the neighborhood, and they're swearing like sailors. And my mother got to thinking she had the only two tow-headed boys in the neighborhood. Well, I guess that got her loaded up for me, and sooner or later I managed to slip out a word that was to be censored by my mom. What I remember is she marched me immediately into the back room, uh, took my dad's shaving brush, in those days they had brushes, and she washed out my mouth with soap. And I don't know if you could do that today, but it sure worked with me. And she told me that I had to understand the words that came out of my mouth, or they were going to suffer the consequences. But on any event, if she said the wrong words around her, I was going to have my mouth washed out again. So that was my mom. Then we moved up the street, and I remember a fellow by the name of David Corrigan. And David was, we called them by the name or nickname or whatever. He was from the Correctional Institute for Kids. He's like 10, so he had behavioral problems, very young. And he was living probably in what would amount to a foster home a couple of doors up. And he would walk to school with my brothers. So Jim's in the first grade. I'm 5 years old, David Corrigan. Anyway, word gets back to my dad that David was on occasion bullying Jim physically. And my dad said to me, he said, whenever you see that, you stick up for your brother. Something to those words. So what did I do? Like that day or the very next day, I'm sitting out there watching my brother and David Corrigan walk up the street from school. So this is like about a 2-block walk or so. And I'm sitting on the very edge of our property. I'm 5 years old. And when David steps on our property, I run up to him and starting pummeling him. And he couldn't understand why. And he said, why? And I just kept hitting him. And finally they were able to, I guess he went on to his house, and I don't know why he didn't push back or whatever, but he didn't do much. And, but he kind of left me alone after that. And then shortly he moved, and that was the end of that. Then about age 6, actually age 6, we moved to Jerome'sville so my dad could fulfill one of his life dreams, that is to run a grocery store. And and that was a wonderful town. I really feel that Jerome'sville raised me. And that's a subject for another video, so I'll close out here, and we'll see you later.